Before you quit your job, watch this because it might not fix what you think it will. This video is for you if you have a good job on paper. People would love to have your job, but you are just waiting for a reason to get the heck out of there. I'm going to stop you from making a premature decision that might make your situation even worse. If you are a knowledge worker in today's economy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Most people are just wishing they were employed. There's so many people scrapping for the very small amount of jobs that are open right now, and you're sitting in one. And so people envy you and they think your life is great and they think you should have no problems at all. But you are secretly wondering if something is wrong with you because you just can't seem to make peace with this great job you have. And you're considering making a pretty serious move like quitting your job. You don't exactly know what's going on, but you know that you feel stuck. You just feel like you're not happy where you are, but you don't really have a lot of options of, places to go, or you don't know what your next move is. So you're just sitting in this feeling of dissatisfaction. And so obviously when you can't put your finger on what's driving the feeling, you point it to your job. It has to be your job. That's where you spend the most time. And so that's where most people think that they need to make the change. That's the first conclusion people come to, is that I need to change my job. It's bringing me down. It's making me feel terrible. And I think the big misconception is that people think after they quit their job that there's going to be a lot of freedom, a lot of clarity, a lot of relief. And what they don't know is that they may be hopping out of one fire and jumping into another. And I think that belief comes from the internet culture, right? There are so many people who are seemingly free to do whatever they want. They are living life on their terms. They don't have to be in anybody's office. They are at the beach. They are at the park. They are doing all these cool things, and you're probably on your lunch break and you're, sitting in your car taking a break from the office, and you're like, I'd rather be anywhere but here. You make the connection because they're on the internet sharing their lives. They don't work jobs, that it's the lack of job that's actually leading to the freedom and the clarity and all the activities they get to seemingly do during the middle of the day. And so you think that it's as simple as quitting your job, and that's going to, the very next step will be you sitting on the beach working on your laptop, not realizing that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes before you can make that happen. And that before you quit your job to chase this feeling of stuck and dissatisfaction, you really have to address the root. You have to figure out what's actually going on with you. And for some people, it's not even quitting completely, right? It's not necessarily leaving your career for entrepreneurship or to follow your passion. For some people, it looks like jumping from job to job or pivoting careers, which is a big one. People who are dissatisfied in their current career think that, oh, if I switch over to something else, that this feeling might go away, not realizing that work is still work. And so until you come to peace with what work entails, how much energy is going to take from you, and you start to see some silver lining in it, you will most likely always feel some form of ick. The real thing that's usually bothering people when they feel unhappy about their employment situation, some sort of misalignment between how you really want to be spending your time, some sort of misalignment between what you're doing for your job and where your skill set actually is, like the thing that you do really well without a lot of energy. Maybe there's lack of ownership. A lot of people working in corporate right now just don't feel fulfilled. They just don't feel anything when they go to work. And I think that starts to wear down on people. I did a video recently about why almost every Black professional I know secretly wants to quit their job. Some people in the comments were bringing to light that while it's true, we do have to fake it until we make it, and we do have to kind of compartmentalize our feelings to get through it. They were bringing to light just how difficult it is to do that day in, day out, year after year after year. It's not as easy as just bottling it up and just, sucking it up and keeping it pushing. It's like when you feel weighed down and you feel stuck for a prolonged period of time, it starts to affect your decision-making abilities. And that's when people get so desperate because they just feel so out of whack and so out of control. And they feel like they have no outlet. All they do is go to work. And now in this economy, they're going to work, spending all their time at work, and they still don't have the money that they want. They still don't have the money to, live a carefree lifestyle because everything is so expensive. And so some people are just like, forget it. They're completely trying to opt out of corporate altogether. And they're like, I'd rather struggle on my own and try to figure out how to make it in this world some other way. For me, that showed up around 2011, where I was several years into my career at that point, and a few years out of college, and you're just now getting to realize what the real world is like, what it actually feels like to have a career, beyond summer internship that always had an end. It's a few years into your career, it seems like you realize that like there is no end in sight here. And when you think about, wow, I'm gonna have to do this for 20 or 30 more years, it starts to get heavy. So I thought I was gonna quit. The internet was just pretty much booming, and the whole living your entrepreneurship life out loud was really just taking shape. And I was one of many who thought about quitting my job. And I think about some of my friends who actually did quit their jobs around that time. And when I think back on it, they were only quitting because of feeling. They didn't have any legitimate reasons to do so other than working a job was no longer, it didn't feel like college anymore. It's a very swift change in like freedom, fun to the harsh realities of being a responsible adult. I have friends who actually did abandon their careers, the careers that they went to college and got degrees for. And if I'm being honest, they have still not recovered financially and they have never gotten on solid ground. And that was about 13 years ago. And so while they may have felt different, felt a sense of freedom, felt like they were in control of their lives, there's a bit of give and take there, right? They may have won in one area, but financially they're still struggling there. And then also you go from feeling stuck in your job to feeling some form of stuck somewhere else, right? Whether you are feeling stuck financially or you're running your business and it's not taking off as fast as you like, or you're not making as much money as you once were. It just never works out the way you expect. And I am very grateful there were about 4 or 5 people in my life who begged me not to quit back then when I was thinking about it. And I'm extremely grateful to those people because I just had no idea what I was getting myself into, right? Like I hadn't even started building a brand. I didn't even have a presence on social media. I think I had like just started in Instagram. I had a fashion blog, but those things don't necessarily translate into dollars in your bank account. And I'm so grateful that people were able to help me see that having an idea and being good at something and wanting to do something very badly, it does not translate into commerce. It does not translate into money exchanging hands. So I'm very grateful that someone shared that with me and was able to help me see things differently. And so I kind of felt compelled to share that because so many people are thinking about quitting for various reasons. And it's kind of crazy because right now is the almost worst time to quit. You don't know if a job is waiting for you. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You don't know if another job is waiting for you. And then, kind of the alternative, instead of quitting, I just moved from job to job to job. So from probably 2005 to 2014, back when jobs were abundant and it was more of a job seeker market than it is now, I kept jumping from job to job to job and the feeling kept returning. And then right around 2014 is when I decided, I'm like, I have to figure out what's going on with me and why I keep running from all of these different jobs and I keep landing in the same place. And it just felt like I was on a treadmill and I was actually going nowhere. And I was like, I have to look into this cycle. I have to understand the pattern because it's not just me. Like so many people I know are feeling this same way. And the pattern looks like you get a job. At some point in the future, you end up being frustrated. You think about quitting. You search for temporary signs of relief. And then the feelings just come back over and over and over again. So even in my situation where I didn't quit, I didn't walk away and abandon my career completely, I still likely made some career moves that were unnecessary, right? Maybe I could have gotten promoted into leadership that much faster had I actually stuck it out and stayed somewhere long enough to do so. But I think it's important to understand that quitting prematurely only makes things worse. The financial pressure, the urgency to replace your income, and then the loss of leverage, right? So if you quit your job before you have a new job, it's so much harder to land one. And then if you quit your job to work a business, now you're coming from a deficit. Now you're desperate to get that business off the ground. And I think what people aren't sharing on the internet is that it takes time. You're not going to quit your job today and in 3 months have a business that's off the ground. You're still trying to figure out what the heck it is you do. You don't even know what it takes to get a sale. Like all the back end things that have to be in place before oh my God, get away. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about quitting your job, I want you to seriously reconsider. I want you to take the pressure off of your job being your everything, and I want you to focus on building something of your own. It's a great distraction, and that allows you to keep your income while you try to figure that other thing out. For some reason, I think the internet made us feel like we could only do one or the other, and that's just simply not true. I think especially today, you kind of need to do both. You can't, especially if you are over 35, 40, you're not going to go back to sleeping on somebody's couch. You're not going to go home living with your parents if you can help it. And those are some of the options that we had when we were younger and we were fresh out of school. But now you may have a family, may have responsibilities, and just going cold turkey with no clear path to income is just not really an option for you. So what you can do is start to build something on the side. What are you obsessed with? Like, take that thing, figure out how to monetize it, figure out how to build something. And I don't care if that is building a YouTube channel, if it's building a newsletter audience, if it's building a digital product, your stock account, real estate, something. When I say build, I don't mean I want to grow on social media. I want to get a bigger Instagram account. I want to be a TikTok influencer. Those are not assets. Those are things that can disappear tomorrow if the application decides to do so. Building an asset, building something that can continue to work for you, that can give you back that feeling of ownership and a feeling that you have an outlet of something to work on, something that is yours, something that will pay off for you in the future and will continue to work for you, and something that gets your creative juices going, something that allows you to see the fruits of your labor. That might be what you're missing. And that alone might resolve the feeling of stuck, because guess what? You're taking action. You're doing something, and it's self-directed. It's not, I feel stuck because I go to work and all they do is tell me what to do. Well, you have the opportunity to tell yourself what to do. Figure out what you want to do and start taking advantage of the time, the free time that you have, and figure out how to start building something of your own that can alleviate that feeling. I know for me, once I decided that I couldn't quit for fashion, I just started doing all kinds of stuff. I started working at a boutique. I started volunteering at Fashion Week. I started doing, sewing and making things and taking styling clients. I gave myself a job. And that's the other thing that we forget in the age of the internet. For some reason, we feel like we have to wait for permission for somebody to give us a job to go get experience doing something. No, if you don't like your job, you can work your job during the day, and whatever it is that you do want to do, you find your spare time and you make yourself a job. Go around your neighborhood, find people who need what you have and start offering it. That way you're getting some experience. For a lot of people, that ends up humbling you. And it's like, I can't quit my job. I only made $300 last month, right? Which is absolutely great. You have to start. If you want to make 3,000, if you want to make 300,000, you first have to make 300. But 300 is not going to pay the bills. And I think that's that's another misconception of what people are not sharing on the internet, is that some months you're up and some months you're down. But unfortunately, your rent payment or your mortgage or your daycare bill, they're the same every single month. And so consistency is the big issue when it comes to quitting your job for entrepreneurship, or, even when jumping from job to job in today's market. You just never know what's going to happen to that job either. It's like, I'm going to this new company. Are they stable? Things are changing very quickly. A company could be stable this month, and then next quarter they decide they need to lay people off. So it's all one big gamble, and you don't want to make those sorts of permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. One of my favorite things right now is on Substack. Somehow my algorithm has found the chefs on Substack. And I just think it's so cool that some of these people, they work 9 to 5s, they have other jobs, they work at restaurants, but they have found time to go to Substack, grow an audience, simply cooking. And it's great content. People always want to watch cooking shows. People always want to learn secrets about cooking. And they're taking their passion and they're building an asset, because on Substack, it's almost like a membership. You have your free content and then you have your premium content. And so what the chefs are doing is they're showing the cooking for their free content. But if you want the recipe, if you want a meal plan, if you want this, if you want that, you have to join their premium tier. That is what I mean by building something. It doesn't have to be this cut off the world, sharp decision, drop everything, dramatic exit to whatever it is you're doing to pay your bills right now. It can simply be an add-on to what you're already doing, or something that you love to do that you can find time and space. And for most people, it's something they're doing anyway, right? If you love to cook, you're cooking anyway. Get a camera and start recording yourself doing it. Start building assets, something that can work for you, and focus your energy there. I promise it will take away the feeling of feeling stuck, because you are no longer stuck at this point. You are building options for yourself. You're exercising the muscle of self-agency. So that's just one very simple example. What could you start building this week? If you had a spare hour every day, what would you want to be doing with it? And I would encourage you to start writing about it, start sharing that experience with other people, start recording yourself doing that thing, just to get these micro experiences of I'm building something on my own while I'm maintaining my employment. I would challenge you guys to do a 30-day challenge of doing exactly that. Find something you want to do for 1 hour out of the day and tell me if you still feel stuck at the end of 30 days. And now we all have AI. You go to ChatGPT, tell them what the skill is, tell them what it is you like to do. How can I share this with the world? How can I monetize this? I mean, that in itself is enough of a challenge to keep you busy. Most of us, when we're in our feelings, it's because we're bored and we don't have enough to do. And I can even say that for myself personally. Like, if feel like I'm going through a phase where I just can't get it together, I'm just feeling blah, I typically go take on something ambitious. It's like, go put your mental energy somewhere else, because I think what we're all trying to get to is this very relaxed state of being calm and owning our time and being able to do what we choose throughout the day. But I think what you first have to understand is that relaxed people, they have options. They are relaxed because they have options. And I think about somebody like Warren Buffett, right? Every time you see Warren Buffett on TV, he never seems to have a care in the world. He's always very calm, always very chill, because he has so many options. And I think the whole point of this video is that I don't want you to cut off your options in search of being more relaxed and being more free. Because when you think about people who have very little options, they are the most stressed. Think about an unemployed person. They can't hardly get a new job because they're so stressed about everything that's going on in the background. So the last thing you want to do is cut off your options. And so I hope I've helped you understand that quitting will not solve the problem. Building options is what actually solves the problem. I make videos for high-functioning knowledge workers who are looking to build leverage outside of corporate. And if you like reading as much as you like watching, you can find me over on Substack at Confidence is Cash. And you can follow me on the Prompt Life podcast here on YouTube to see how I'm using AI as my secret weapon to do all of the things, to work corporate and build. All the important links are in the description. That's all I got for you guys today.